Welcome to another inspiring episode of the Courageous Journey podcast. Today, I'm joined by the incredible Jim Rajan as we dive deep into some of the most defining moments in life. The times when we felt like we weren't enough because of the judgments or criticisms of others. In this episode, we explore what it truly means to find your own path, the one that aligns with your soul's purpose. We discuss the self-imposed limits that hold us back and the immense strength we uncover when we take responsibility for our lives. Together, we'll uncover how capable we truly are of creating the life we desire. I hope you enjoy the episode. Jim, I'm very happy to have you on the Courageous Journey episode and on the Courageous Journey podcast. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation and be my guest.
Thank you, Alex. My absolute pleasure.
It's a pleasure from my side too, because there is so much I would like to go through with you, and I'm very interested in your story, and I'm very interested on the ways you help people do that. And to begin with, I would like you to tell me a little bit about your story. How did you end up being the person you are today?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because lots of people ask me if I can teach them what I do and how do I do it. And I say I can't really teach you it because I'd have to teach you to be me. I'd have to give you my life story and the things that have happened in my life and then you'd get it. I mean, I had lots of jobs in my life in all kinds of ways, but nothing ever really suited me or felt right, or I never really fitted in or belonged. And I tried, and I really tried in all kinds of different things, in all kinds of different ways. From practicing Buddhism really hardcore for about 18 years to, yeah, working in lots of different kind of organizations, companies, all kinds of things. Um, and I got to a point in my life where I realized that none of those things were really me. And I didn't even really know what me was, but I was willing to find out. And so I started looking for teachers, and I spent many years looking for a teacher to teach me essentially what I do now, and I never found one. And I looked and looked and looked and threw myself into this thing or this system or that method. But what the teacher always did was they taught me one thing. Well, they thought they were teaching me one thing, but actually they were teaching me something completely different. You know, the patterns underneath the words, their actions, their comportment, their behavior, the way they delivered information, what not to do, you know. Most of my teachers taught me how not to do it, which was amazing, but it didn't teach me how to do it. So I did get to a point maybe in my mid 30s where I was just like, right, well, no one's going to tell me how this needs to go. I don't know what the result is, but I'm going to take myself on this journey and I'm going to play and explore and fail and fall over and get it wrong lots of times, but I don't care because I've only got one life. In my mid 30s, that means that, you know, if I maybe I was halfway through life or I have no idea. So let's kind of get on with it, you know, let's see where this goes. So, um, uh, yeah, I just studied lots of different things and read lots of different books, but also sat with myself. I think the biggest thing was to sit with myself and listen a lot. And get rid of other people's ideas and other people's methods. And this is how you do it. And these are the three best ways to blah, 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 blah. And I got rid of all of that because none of it means anything. It's all transient information. And, you know, we're all in the information age and it's useless to every single one of us. And it took me, you know, now I'm 50, it took me a good 15 years or so to work it out and then have the courage to try it out and share it with people. Yeah, that.
I think you said so many things right now. I have to clean my mind, so I go through all of them. It resonates so much with me, and I think with so many people as well. What you just said, that we think at least in my case, I thought I have the questions and I go to a master, ask them, and he give me the answers. But the answers I received many times were not the answers I was expecting to hear, and they were leading me to my own path. I thought I'm gonna listen or hear and receive specific answers. Sometimes the answers were questions
Mm.
that
Yeah.
started triggering things in me. So I go out there and find the answers. But I had the answer as an answer in my head, like as something specific, but it was not. And I understand what you say. And also that we try to figure out everything right now, if it is now or never. But there is so much. And if we push it that hard, it we may fail to see the big picture, which gonna lead us to the real us. And there is so many different versions we can choose. And I think what you do is very important for the society, so you can help and support people understand that they are not just one thing, and they can find out.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't even an adult till I was in my 30s anyway. Um, I think that you have so many choices, and yet you don't think that you do. And we're all told what to do. I mean, education says you are nothing. I will inform you, then you are something. You know, you're useless. We make you useful, then you're useful. And that's not correct. You know, there's all of these wonderful quotes about children up to the age of 5 are all geniuses, then they go to school. You know, they're all the kind of same thing. They all basically say that. Um, and so, yeah, school comes along and it's necessary for various things in society, and societal systems are important in all kinds of ways, but they're not everything. And they get treated like they're everything to the point where we human beings then serve society, but it's a method. It's not got any people in it, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so the work is to unlearn gently, quietly, in a non-violent way, carry yourself through, unlearn those things, and then see what is there and go, oh, okay, right. Well, I quite like that. I'm going to go down that road for a while and see what happens. But yeah, as you've said, we want it now. I want the answer. This is why education works, because it says in 1 year, I will give you a piece of paper that says PhD on it or master's on it or whatever the thing is. And then you win and you get to have something magical. But how many people do you know who's got a PhD and they can't find a job? And they've got no people skills whatsoever, and also they've deleted their intuition. It's incredible. I have a client who allows me to mention this in San Francisco, and when she came to me, she said, I don't have an intuition. I've never heard it. I've never ever heard it. And I fully believed that person. But over the course of time, we just kind of gently took away the things that shouldn't be there, and she realized uh, that there was the most incredible poetry within her, and it came out, and that was what her intuition was. And if you have conversations with that person now, it blows your mind. Huh? And she's freed herself from the constraints or the restrictions that, yeah, of course, society put on her. But you condition yourself. You can't blame society. You did it yourself as well. And when you take that responsibility and go, all right, I've messed up. I've made lots of mistakes. No one's perfect. Perfect doesn't exist. Let's have some fun going down that road.
Yes, yes. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Jim. There is two things. There is one thing you said, that geniuses, from 1 to 5, we are geniuses, and then we go into the system and we take that away because it's a structure that leads you to something, and then you forget everything. So you actually know everything, then you forget through through. It's like, how would I call it? It's like they program something into your beingness, and then you forget so many things, and then in the advanced age you try to go back to yourself again. So it's a very interesting journey. And the other thing what I would love to speak about with you is you said that you have done so many things in the past, but nothing felt what you feel right now, that was the right thing. And it resonates so much with me because my whole life I thought I am a professional football player, which, to be very honest, I didn't feel it. I never felt that I have to do that, that I am this. I never. It was always my fear, my ego, my mind talking and holding me back. But I always was good with people. I was always good with connections and speaking out my truth. But this kept me back, the mind. And so I understand what you mean with I didn't feel it. What was your point in your life where this switch happened?
I think I've had lots of them. I think I've probably had hundreds of them. I mean, I had them when I was a little kid. I had them in my teenage years. I remember there was one when I was maybe 15, and I had my group of friends, and and I went up to one of my friends one day, and I said to him, am I doing all right? Am I doing life okay?" And he was like, "What? What the hell are you asking? What kind of a question is that?" I mean, he was a teenage boy who's into, you know, girls and all the kind of stuff that teenage boys and were into. And I come along and am I doing? Do you think I'm doing this all right? And he probably hadn't even questioned to that point in his own life. But I think I was always questioning, and I was always receiving signs, and I didn't know they were signs, but they would catch my eye. And as I got older, they caught my eye more and more until I took notice of them. And I believe very much that Rudolf Steiner, for example, talked a lot about how children and people go in cycles of 7 years of maturing. So 0 to 7 is a very specific period of time, 7 to 14, 14, 21, blah, all the rest of it. And I think we all need to go through those cycles in life. If you told me when I was 20, if what I do now, I would have been like, no, I'm going to be an engineer, or I'm going to be a designer, or I'm going to be this thing, or and we don't have a clue, but it's all right to not have a clue. You're allowed to not have a clue. You're just here to explore what this thing is. You got given a life, if you believe it in that kind of way. I'm super lucky. I got to live in a human body in this time. I saw someone sent me a great post on Instagram the other day that said, just think yourself lucky that you were born at the same time as David Bowie was alive. And I thought that made me chuckle. And so I'm so lucky that I get to live in this world, in this time. Why don't I enjoy all of it and have some fun with it? There's a great line that we use in our school, which is master level is where nothing affects you, but everything delights you. And it's kind of like, yeah, life happens. Everyone's got suffering and pain and challenges and stuff that hurts and stuff that finishes. And we break up with people and we lose jobs, or our career falls to pieces, or whatever the thing is. But at the same time, um, it's delightful when your heart's broken and you're in that state of awareness where you're just like, yeah, this really hurts, and that was so unfair. But also, my God, I'm here. I feel so here now.
Yeah.
It's almost intense. Um, yeah, I don't know if that answered your question.
Wonderful. That here is now the next important thing I like to speak about. How important the here is.
Mm.
How important, because we try always to find the next big thing, our next career, our next job, our next big money, our next move. Where should I create family? Where should I stay? Where should I live? All the time it's the next thing. But you know, you're gonna find your way, and you are always on your way, because all paths lead to the to the top
Um,
of the mountain, right? All
yeah.
paths lead there. It's just being here, because the here and the now is all the power we have. because it's always a here and the now.
Yeah.
Even if you think of the future, if you could go to the future right now, it would be again the here and the now.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. And it's kind of, and it's like, what you get is lots of people who say, well, when I'm living my mission, I will be happy and I'll be fulfilled. But that's projecting into the future, and it's always a certain distance away from you. So tomorrow, that will be the same distance away from you. But life is showing you everything, what your path in life is. You're walking on your path in life now. You don't need to know where it goes. We all want to know where it goes. It's like, what's the future? It doesn't matter. Who cares? It doesn't matter what the future is. It's, Eckhart Tolle's Power of Now, wonderful book. But there's loads of there are all these quotes that say, the future doesn't exist, the past is gone, all you've got is now. And we all listen to that and go, oh, right, yeah, cool. But 2 minutes later, we've forgotten it, right? No. So it's being here and just really being present and finding a quality of your presence so that you can allow yourself to feel that you're on a path. You're actually on it now. And it doesn't really matter where it's going, but that path is showing you all kinds of things all the time. Life is showing you stuff all the time. We find ourselves in relationships that aren't working, and yet in English we say, and we flog a dead horse, and we keep trying to keep there's something alive that actually wants to die.
Thank you.
No? So see the true nature of reality and let the thing die. It's okay. There's no problem. We all go through hundreds, if not thousands, of mini births and deaths over the course of our life over and over again, and it's fine. And if you're scared of that, you're not going to do anything. And if you're scared of that, you're not going to be here now because it's too scary. But it's not. It's perfect.
It is, Jim. It is. And why do you think people try to stay in that state, even if they understand and they know it's not good for them? In a relationship, in a job. I mean, it can be a lot, it has to do a lot with fear, of course. But why do you think someone chooses consciously not to step out and stay in the same place?
Yeah, I mean, well, let's go into it. Why would you do that? If let's say you're in a job that you hate, well, what does it give you? Well, it gives me money and it gives me security and it gives me the things that I've been told that I need to have that give me prestige or that give me status. Someone comes along and they've got a bigger car than you and they feel better about themselves because they've got a bigger car than you've got, or a bigger house than you've got, or whatever the thing is, no? And so we're all hooked. We've all got the kind of fish hook in our cheek of status that's pulling us. And yeah, that's what Buddhism talks about. That's what ancient Hinduism talks a lot about. Is just let go of all those things. You don't need anything. You don't need any of these things. Status is the worst thing for your mind, for your body, for your soul. We all want safety because then we can just kind of go, oh, it's all right. It's all right. I can just sit and binge Netflix now for a day. And that's why things like Netflix do so well. It's because we all want to escape what we think is an awful thing when actually we have all this power, or not, maybe not power, but we all have all this choice to see what's happening in our life and go, wait a minute, that isn't right for me. I don't like that. Okay, I can't just stop it now because I need to pay my rent and I need to put food on the table, but I know that I don't like that. Well, then if you know, then the knowing helps you see other things. And then you go, oh, but hold on. The fact that I don't like that is helping me see this. Ah, well, let's take some time to investigate what this is and allow that thing to fall away and die slowly in the right way while I slowly take on this new thing, whatever it is. Why is it that we've all been taught that we need safety because of previous generations. My grandparents, my grandfather, fought in the Second World War, for example. Rationing. You weren't allowed to throw food away. My mother is the same. His daughter, she can't throw anything away. Okay, and so those people have their conditioning of the need to have these things for a particular reason. But now in your and my time, that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So I don't need, yeah, I need some safety. Let's not be silly. No, I need some safety, but not as much as I think I need.
And Jim, I would say this, don't take it for granted or don't just accept the way you think that things are right now in your life, because it doesn't mean that what you are living and what you are experiencing right now is the way life works. It's not, because life can change immediately
Yeah.
once you change perception, once you
E-
change the side of.
Exactly. You've nailed it. Well, yeah, and perception is not a fixed thing. Perception is as free as a bird, and it can be up in a tree and on the ground and flying 500 meters in the air, and it's the same for you. You've got so many possibilities. Lots and lots of wonderful spiritual teachers have talked about the field of possibility. No, and and what I find is a lot of people get stuck in the theory of things, but they don't actually use them in practice. So it's very similar to, the idea of needing theory is a bit like, so I show you a bird and we give it a name, and then you're like, well, it's a bird and it's called an eagle. Well, all right, I get it, I understand. But that is so different from sitting watching an eagle for a year and how it lives, and when it uses courage, and the quality of its eyesight, and just the majesty of that animal. We just erased it all by calling it an eagle, scientifically going, right, it's this. And it's the same with theory. So you can know all the theory. I mean, I'm on Instagram and I put things on Instagram, but if I sit and watch Instagram, it destroys my brain after a while, because yeah, there are some interesting quotes from, I don't know, whoever the person is, but then there's another one, and then there's another one, and then there's another one, and then it just, but you become saturated with theory, and theory doesn't really help you unless you actually use it.
Right. Yes, taking action. That's also the biggest part of manifestation. Like having a visual, having a thought, having a goal, visualizing it, and then feeling it through emotions, of course, and then applying it in real life. That's so great. And that's, I think that's the third part. Taking action is the part where the most people stop,
Yeah.
because they for many different reasons. I mean,
I
everybody.
think I think the reason, sorry to interrupt you. I mean, why do they stop? Why do people stop taking action?
That's a good question. I can answer for myself. Like I stopped in the past taking action because I didn't have the the whole information for what I'm going to do, and I was afraid for that, and I didn't take action in the sense of not learning about the thing I wanted to do. So that
Yeah,
was
it's
my
like you wanted the certainty that your action will give you the result that you require. Therefore, you're fixed on the result. I want this. And that's for me where manifesting kind of falls down, because we get so fixed on how we want the thing to be that we don't give life the freedom to make it up itself. So, yeah, have an idea, have a kind of plan, have your vision, and have a vision that's cohesive, that is bringing something together. But if you're like, no, it's got to be this color and this shape and look like this and blah blah blah, well then you're pushing life away. You're saying, no, I'm God and I can make whatever I want happen. And that's not how it works.
yes.
Yes, you are God, absolutely, but everyone else is, and everything else is, and all of life is as well. And you're gonna get the right thing for you. You're gonna get what you need. You probably won't get what you want, but you'll get what you need. The Rolling Stones song, "Can't always get what you want, but you'll get what you need." Um, and it's like, yes, okay, manifesting. There's lots of different books on these things. The power of the subconscious mind, absolutely. But it's feeling how you would like to feel,
Yes.
and then letting life, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, do the rest. Because if you're mentally like, I mean, I always use this example. No, I want a red Ferrari, and and it's got to be like this, and it's the Ferrari, whatever the mark and model number, blah blah. No, no, right. But maybe life wants to give me a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
or something else, or not that. Maybe life doesn't want me to have that. Maybe life's got something even better than that for me. Huh? And I'm restricting myself by my own lack of vision.
Yeah.
So I go, this is what all of our work is about. It's don't think, feel. Feel how you want to feel. So if you're in the future, if you want to feel in love, if you want to feel happy and fulfilled, you know how that feels. You can conjure it up inside of yourself. You can just sit there on your own quietly in the morning, in the dark, and just feel how it feels to be in love,
Yes.
and then let it go. And you don't need a picture of what that person looks like or how their personality is or where they live or anything. It doesn't matter. If you're free enough to give that to the world, then the world will give you something back, won't it?
Do it in the present moment, exactly, and let life unfold. Let
Yes.
life bring the magic, and don't stop the magic. Don't. It's so beautiful what you say, and what I always preach to my people. I call them my people. I don't call them my clients. Is find your why, which is the strongest part, and let the how.
Mm.
But find your why,
Yeah. Yeah.
because the
And
why is usually an emotional. It's attached to an emotional state. Why do
mm,
you want? And go deep into that.
mm. Yeah, and often your why didn't start in the last few years. It started when you were a child and you loved being in a group of people making something happen. You loved being with your friends playing football. You loved climbing trees with one friend, or you loved sitting making art, or you loved role playing in a garden with a stick where it was a sword and then it was a fishing rod and then it was whatever the thing is. You're still that child, and you've still got that mystery and fantasy. um, it's there within you. Your work is to just kind of pull off all of these blankets, these heavy woolen blankets that society is kind of, no, not society, because it's not about blaming. We don't get to blame anyone.
Oh,
That in a way we kind of took on because we thought that it would help us belong to something, but it didn't.
yeah. And blaming, of course, we take that out of the conversation, because it's another thing of giving your responsibility away and your control away. And that's not what we want, especially when we have done a lot of inner work. We understand that it's all on us. It's never on another person, on a situation or whatever. And the moment we do that, we understand how much of control and power we have in our life, and that's the,
Yeah.
we can create the most beautiful things as well. I mean, it will be difficult and it will be uncomfortable at first, but it's so worth it to understand your worth, your value, your power. It's such a beautiful thing, and it starts, as you said, it's a lot of things, or the majority of things start in a very early age. And of course, you're easily manipulative when you are young, and a lot of things, like you speak in your videos about ADHD and so on. And I mean, we just give them a name, and that's good or bad. But I mean, they have so much more things to to show, to express. And you have probably more experience with ADHD and so on. And if some people listen to that right now, I would like you to tell them something about that, and how you work with those people, and how you
Yeah.
help those people
So,
understand.
so I think all human beings are highly sensitive. All human beings have that capacity, but many of us gave it away so that we could conform to something or belong to something, or because we like the idea of competition and winning and being the best. And so we pushed that kind of down deep inside of us. Um, I mean, I was very hyperactive, unable to put attention on things when I was a kid in the 70s and 80s, but it didn't have a name then. I'm very dyslexic. I hate writing emails. I hate kind of sitting down to write things. Um, what I find is, again, the label gives us some theory that we then have to follow. Ah, right, I've got ADHD, therefore I am this. No one gets to decide what you are. How dare anyone come along and tell you what you are? As soon as someone does that, they've ruined it. I went to a very academic school, but I wasn't academic at all. I just kind of managed to pass the entrance exam and had every teacher tell me how I couldn't do this and I wouldn't do that. And I even, when I was about to leave school, I had a teacher sit down with me one day and said, and he actually said this to my face, "You'll never really amount to anything in life." Yeah, and I was like,
How old were you in that moment, Jim?
I was about 17,
Wow.
and I was just like, "Oh yeah, he's right. He's totally right. He's got it. I'm nothing. I am useless." But there was something inside of me that knew that wasn't right. And that something inside of me kept breaking out and destroying things. And of course, I had to numb myself from painful things like that, as I'm sure you've done as well, as many people do, which is why the world is full of wonderful things to help us numb ourselves in some kind of way or other. Um, but yeah, as soon as you label something, you take away its power or its ability to create movement. So, like you've said, responsibility. I took responsibility lots and lots of times, but it wasn't me taking responsibility. It was just really me responding. Life was there going, we need you to do something, but we don't know what it is. And I ran away from that many times until eventually I was like, all right, I don't know what to do, but I'm going to do this. And I never work on myself because that's violent and that adds to the system of violence of the modern society or system. So I work with myself, which is nicer, and then I can just be my friend. And then if I get it wrong, I don't have to work on myself harder because I'm useless and I've messed it up and I'm stupid and I'm a failure. No, I just got it wrong. It's all right. Miles Davis talked about there's nothing more empowering than the wrong note, or whatever the thing is he said. The best thing is the wrong note. Um, yeah, because it keeps you on your feet, and the more mistakes you make, the more you have to respond. And the more you respond, the more you know yourself, and the more you see yourself responding and go, hold on, Jim is not what they said he was. Jim is what I'm doing. Jim is this. Cool. This is fun. What else can he do? Let's throw him off that cliff and see what happens.
Yes,
Huh?
yes. This what you just said, the escaping. So many times I escaped in my own life to just not face the situations because I was scared of what people were thinking about me, or that some people thought or spoke to me and said, "You can't do that. You're not good enough." So I took that from these people and implemented that in my being. So I believed my belief system was very weak until I did the inner work, what you're talking about. And many people, this is the thing. Of course, in reality, we can do everything ourselves. Like we have the answers in us. Sometimes we are not able to see them and we need some external help. And now you come to the game and I come to the game. But the reality is this, that you can heal yourself from everything that is inside of you that doesn't serve you anymore. You can do it right now. It will be uncomfortable, but you can do it right now. And you need to have the right questions ready, and you need to be ready to face the consequences. You need to be ready for that. And some people, of course, struggle or go earlier or later to that state, but it is worth it. It is worth it. And I encourage everybody. And you had this experience with somebody telling you that you are nothing. And it took you probably some years until you said, "Oh my God, I'm actually something and I can do whatever the heck I want to do." And these
Yeah.
qualities are so important in our lives. And some people maybe have them, but they are not doing the step to go.
Yeah. And I think, you know, and I really value the fact that that person sat me down and said that to me, and I really appreciate that. Um, and what I find is that we've been so trained that things are scary and that the unknown is scary that we're not willing to take these steps to work with ourselves. And you know, which is why in our school, for example, I don't teach. I just kind of sit with everyone and learn with them, and we sit and discuss things. And what do you think? And someone will ask a question to me because I'm the teacher, and I'll just go, I don't know. What do you think? You know, because everyone's had their life journey. We don't. How dare we bow down to a teacher? You know, the idea of the teacher is preposterous. It's ridiculous. In the modern world, that's not necessary. Um, the ADHD teenager is just expressing the way that the teacher is meant to be. The ADHD kid is showing the teacher what they need. They're expressing their needs. So either the teacher says, no, I'm staying the way I am, and you have to do what I want you to do, which is not teaching, or they go, right, hold on, this kid needs this thing. Scrap this class, it's rubbish. Let's all sit in a circle, look each other in the eye, hold hands, and listen to what each person is feeling right now. And that is going to do that kid and all the other kids so much more than filling them with geography and biology. And if later on they want to go and learn geography and biology, yeah, cool, you've got the internet, it's all there, you know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Especially nowadays, you with one click you have all the knowledge you need.
Mm.
Those unimportant things anyway. But it's wow, Jim. That's really special what you say, and the I can I can say so many things, but let me go through one thing I really love that you said in one of your videos, and that I resonate the most with. It's you say you've been shunned, you've been shamed, you've been belittled, you've been tamed, and because the words you use describe yourself. Words like healer, mystic, psychic, seer, light worker are ridiculed.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we just said. It's
Yeah.
you know what you're good at, and it needs a little bit of courage, but it doesn't need anybody to tell you that you can't do that. I mean, sometimes it's important and it leads to the path you need to go through, but people will always try to destroy what they don't understand, you say.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
exactly that. It's it's the fear of the unknown. It's the fear of somebody taking your place. It's the fear of, I don't know, losing something.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're like many people who have complied with the system and you love the system and the system works for you and you love status and feeling good about yourself because of what you've achieved and having nice things, and that's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's wonderful. But then if I come along and say, "Oh yeah, I don't like that none of that works for me," well, your first reaction is to defend your position. And so, of course, I'm going to get attacked. People will say, well, what's wrong? What's wrong with you? Why don't you like what I like? I like it and it's good for me, and you don't like it, so you're wrong. We ostracize you. We get
You're
rid
the
of you.
prophet.
You're the problem. But they don't sit there and question, I'm in this. Do I actually like this? Because there are many people who are in society-based systems and they didn't question it, and it's not their fault, but they didn't question it, and they're stuck in it. Or they questioned it, but they question it when they're my age, and then they think, but it's too late now. I mean, you know, I don't, I, you know, I need to have my pension. For example, I have a friend here in Spain who he's a wonderful healer, and he does acupuncture and Chinese medicine and all kinds of wonderful things. But he has to carry on being a postman because it gives him a pension. And so he can't give himself completely to what he really loves to do because he's constrained by money, as we all are. And so I get it. I understand. You know, everyone's got their mortgage or they have to pay their rent or whatever. And yeah, I understand. I'm not going to say to that person, just forget the pension, you'll be all right, because that's not sound advice. But he's not seeing that there are more options available to him. He's just seeing black or white. And what's the film? There's 50 Shades of Grey, but there's also yellow over here and pink and blue up there. And it's like, yeah, the more you give away, the more you let go, the more you acquiesce, which is relinquish, let go, just um, let go of all these needs that you think you have that don't really exist, then you see yourself more and more, and you can befriend that more and more, and then you can kind of go, yeah, all right, well, I'm going to carry on doing that because I do need to have a pension, absolutely, but
Yeah.
I'm going to do this and this and this and see what happens.
Yeah, and I see already the the question of my people and from other clients that you probably have as well. Like, yes, but will this give me money to live? And yes, you're right. We are conditioned in that, and it's totally fine to ask that question. But just understand yourself that, as you said, there are so many opportunities out there. And why do you choose to focus on something that is negative? Why do you choose on something that can't go right? Why
Yeah,
don't you just choose to think of something that is more productive for yourself?
yeah,
Because I mean, whatever you're gonna let your body and yourself feel as an emotion, you're gonna somehow experience in your life. Why don't
yeah.
you try?
Don't think about what you want, not what you don't want. It's as simple
Thank
as
you.
that.
Thank you.
Um, you
I
know,
made a video about that, Jim. Sorry. I
yeah,
say, know what you don't want, but focus on what you do want.
yeah,
It's important to know what you don't want, but just focus on what you do want.
yeah. And there are those people who they want something, but it's not for them. I have lots of clients who are very highly intuitive, psychic, and feel all kinds of things and see all kinds of things, and they say, and I want to do this for a job, you know, and I say, you'll ruin it. Don't ruin it. No, get a job that gives you some money so you can live and explore your gifts, play with them, and then in time, if the right thing is that you're going to make money from that and that's going to be your living, well then wonderful. But if don't destroy it before you've even learnt what it is. As soon as you put the label, this is my living, this is my business, there's a wonderful line in the Bhagavad Gita that I always go back to that says you have the right to the work, but you don't have the right to the fruits of the work. So do your work, whatever the result is, it's nothing to do with you. But also, when you're focused on the fruits of your work, you always do lower quality work.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. And that is a universal law. And so if you give away the result, well, it doesn't, if I make money from this or not, it doesn't matter. Let me learn it. Let me sit with myself and learn it and explore it, because that is you doing really good quality work. More than, that is you putting excellence into yourself and your work. And then whatever happens, if you do something excellent, it's going to have a nice result.
It gonna happen, and it's gonna come into your life. And you said something before that some people say it's too late now, but I had a friend who told me, yeah, it's too late for my mother now. And I said, wait a moment. When is it too late to forgive? When is it too late to heal? When is it too late to do good things? Not only for others, but for yourself.
Yeah.
People have a time that it starts and it ends, but why should these things be too late?
Yeah, otherwise you're either it's either too late or you can't get there, which means none of that is here,
Yeah,
is it?
Yeah,
They're all projections into the future, or oh, the past. Oh, I wasted all my time doing this thing, and I didn't do my true meaning, or my true power, my true life. Or yeah, you did. This is what it is. You're doing it right now. You change your perception, see what you see the true nature of what you're actually doing, and stop thinking. No, how do I put it? Stop seeing what you think you see, and start seeing what is actually there, and then and just have fun with that. And I know there will be people who go, yeah, yeah, so it's easy for you to say, but your life's all easy because I'm sorry. If you saw my life, if you saw how much pain there is in my life, you wouldn't say that. You know, that's the Instagram culture of the people who put beautiful videos and they look all wonderful and life's marvelous. That's not a truth. That person's depressed. That person is being abused by their father or whatever the thing is, you know. But you don't see that. And so it's not a competition of whose life is easier. No one's life is easier. Everyone's life is just this is what life is. In Buddhism, it's called the Saha world, the world of suffering. I don't know if I like that because there's also joy and beauty and magic in it as well. Uh, but yeah, it doesn't have to be the way you think it is.
and as we said, it can change right now from the moment you decide to change things.
Yeah, yeah, completely. And you could even take it further and say, actually, there is no healing to be done here. I'm good as I am. And yeah, there are scars, but they healed. And there are lots and lots of people, and most people don't like hearing this, but we carry the healing around or the wound around with us, or the need for healing or the wound around with us because it serves us in some way or other. You know, if I'm wounded, well, then I get to act like this
Yeah.
or that. Oh, I get to say this. Because well, this person treated me badly when I was a kid, so I can be nasty to you. Well, that's not fair. That doesn't work. So yeah, um, the interpersonal transparency with yourself will do you the world of good.
I like what you said about teachers and healers because that's the way I express myself to my people as well. I say a good teacher is not somebody who takes his knowledge, in that case, myself. I take my knowledge and push it into your brain. I just have walked some doors and I have some experience, and I tell you, you can walk through all of the doors, but this is more dangerous. This is more interesting. This is more, but do your thing. And I don't try to tell you that this is good or bad for yourself because it may not be for you the same it have been for me. I just give you my experience, and that's okay. And the healer side, what you just said, I also say I'm not going to heal you.
Yeah.
You're gonna heal yourself. I just gonna show you things you are not aware of right now, and I'm gonna trigger some things in yourself that may help healing.
Yeah, exactly. And the true healing is really just a person changing their behavior, isn't
Yes.
it? And seeing themselves in a different light with a different perspective, or changing their story, or changing the story they live by, or no, not changing because picking one of the different stories that they already have to live by instead of the one they chose before.
Yeah, that's wonderful. What would you actually um, give someone who would ask the following question? Jim, I feel stuck in my life right now. I don't know what to do next. And I'm probably sure you hear this question a lot in maybe different sense, but I do that. And yeah, what would you say to some people who ask that?
I think the first thing I would say is, me too. Awesome. Oh, okay. Well, sit down. Tell me more.
Let's explore.
Let me hear, let me give you a space where you actually genuinely get listened to. And what always happens is they'll start talking because what we do is we get stuck on the getting stuck and we're like, oh, no, I'm stuck, you know. But then you start talking and then you start hearing yourself and you're like, oh, no, but actually, no, I'm not. No, I'm not that stuck. And people just work it out themselves, but with somebody standing next to them holding their hand going, wait, wait, yeah, yeah, no, you're right. And there's that as well. You forgot that bit down there. And they're like, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, oh my God. And I love painting, but I'm not a painter. And I'm like, well, if I give you a paintbrush and some paper, then you'll be a painter. You know, all the people who say, well, I'd love to be a writer. Have you done some writing today? No. Well, then you're not a writer. Get some paper, write, and then you'll be a writer. There's all these people. I have this. I have this a lot of people. They're like, I want to be a writer, and they buy a beautiful wooden desk made of some beautiful wood, and they buy beautiful paper and a special pen and a lovely chair, and then they never ever sit there because a real writer sits in Starbucks with their computer on their lap, just writing whatever comes.
Exactly.
If you journal, then you're a writer.
It's
And
this,
why do I have to be a something anyway? I have to be a something that gives me status so that people can label me and so I can label myself, no, which doesn't mean anything. So why not just do whatever you want? As long as you don't damage anyone else's path and as long as you don't damage your own, you're as free as you allow yourself to be.
yeah, that's a wonderful. It's the same thing in the gym. People say I'm gonna start on Monday, and they go and they buy the fanciest stuff, and then they go one time and they stop.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just do it. Just do it anyway. Find your why and go for it.
Yeah, I mean, and the gym is a really good example because it's hard work and you have to keep going. And if you don't keep going, it doesn't work. You don't magically get muscles or whatever, whatever the result you want it. You have to go 2 or 3 times a week, and
Do the
yeah,
work.
but what people don't realize is how great it feels a few months down the line when you walk out of the gym and your body is full of I don't know what I'm not very good at biology, endorphins or some kind of hormone that makes you feel good,
Yeah.
huh? And you walk out and you're like, yeah. Uh, but people don't realize there's all these little lovely things on the path along the way. It's like we're looking up at the sky, trying to get to the sun, but on your path down on the floor, there's all this magic and kind of special things. Why not have a look down there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It comes all down. Jim, sorry. It comes all down to self-love and self-respect at the end of the day. Because
Yeah,
what is self-love and self-respect? It's doing good things for yourself and understanding that you are the most important person in your life. Because if you are not feeling good and if you are empty, you're not able to give anything to anybody, not even your kids or your wife or whoever. You
yeah,
need in first place to be fully charged and ready to go and in control and strong
yeah,
in order to give. And I don't mean that you can't have the times that you don't feel well or don't do the things. It's also in the game, but make sure you give yourself love through nutrition, through exercise, through just being alone if you like, but do things for yourself.
yeah, exactly. And no one is empty. We like the on off black white polarity of things, but no one is empty. As I said before we started, I did one of the modules of our school this weekend, and it's exhausting, and to hold that space for that amount of time for those people, it takes a lot of my energy. And today I'm tired, but it's a nice tired. And I know that I'm not, running on full burners or however you say it, but it's okay because the energy that I've got is just right for this conversation. And it's listening to you and giving you what you need. So everything is just right. There's no such thing as empty. It's just a story that you're telling yourself.
Yeah. Wow. Well, wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jim. It was such a pleasure to have you here and to
Mm,
talk about all these beautiful things. And I hope we could touch some ears that need to hear that today or whenever they want to hear that.
wonderful. My absolute pleasure. Anytime. Do you want to do it again? I love talking.
Thank you so much.